completely sober, so you can provide the shout casting and like perfect casting sort of standard, and I will come in with my quirkiness and analysis, which should be good. I think it'll be alright. I think we'll be good. We'll see how it goes, won't we?
Okay, right, we're setting up.
So I get headphones.
Right. Oh, jeez. Oh, man. I can hear myself. Right, there we go. Okay, that's good. Right, we'll put that there. We'll pause that there. We're still setting up, lads. This is...
Show me the desk draft.
Yeah.
Oh!
You got some nice comments in the first game.
Did I? Did I get some nice comments about this?
Some people did say they liked it, yeah.
Oh, that's really good. I spent like 5 hours doing this, I reckon. So you guys better appreciate it, because this is really hard. There's like the King of Hearts is missing, it looks like.
No, that's because of this. Look, it's the
oh shit, yeah, of course it is. Yeah, my bad.
It's the glitch. It's
I apologize. I completely apologize. So yeah, if you like our desk draft, let us know. It was well, we say it was developed by both of us, to be fair, because he had the idea and then I made it happen.
You did it, yeah. So a lot of credit goes to you.
So yeah, so it's Genius by Pixel Pipeline. Hashtag Genius Pixel Pipeline.
Get on the Twiz. If you tweet us, Wakey will give you a mythical.
If we get 20 viewers on the stream, then there is a two mythicals up for grab, because it's a rollover from the last time that we did
this. Yes.
So just get ready for that. It could happen. I'm going to start talking about the draft because we're into it. It's on the desk. We can see it. The cards have been drawn. Well, a few of them so far. While Owen keeps on doing the stuff behind the scenes that is very, very important. Yep. So we're going to see Doom and Razor actually banned out by the Awesome Red Team, and then the Angry Army. They're going to ban out the Lycan and Brewmaster. Obviously, you don't want to be giving a Lycan away on the Dire side. Although I think the Radiant had first pick this game.
It was the Radiant with first pick.
It was the Radiant with first pick. So maybe they could have just left the Lycan in there. And first picked in themselves, but they're going to ban out the Brewmaster, and that's going to let Viper come through. Then the Faceless Void and Jakira instantly picked up. Obviously, Faceless Void slightly better on the Radiant just because of how easy the offlane is on the Radiant. If it is an offlane Faceless Void that we see this game, which they could run it in the carry position, they could even run it mid, and we see a few teams do that. So just keep that open for the time being. Viper is then matched with Skyrath Mage, which I would argue is kind of like a counter pick to, if you're going to pick a Faceless Void, then the Skyrath Mage is going to get picked up instantly, because it's such a nice combo. Even though it didn't have a very good success rate at TI, it's still very, very potent, especially at this sort of tier level. And then the bans that are coming out, we're going to see Lich banned out, so a little bit of lane control. They'd already got the Viper that's going to win a lane. They don't want something that's going to just sort of hinder any of their lanes at the moment, and Lich is very much something that can throw a spanner in the works when you're trying to draft a decent lineup. And then they're just going to get rid of some decent push, which is going to be the Death Prophet. On the side of the Angry Army, on the Radiant side, they're going to ban out some push of their own. They're going to ban out the Shaman as a support. And they're also going to ban out the Earthshaker, a hero that we've seen used quite a lot, especially in the Chinese scene. We've seen it in aggro tries, we've seen it in defensive tries. It's just a hero that has a very, very good laning presence and also can contribute a large amount of presence in the mid game as well. I mean, Faceless Void Jakira is a lineup that we've not really seen utilized too much, but it has a lot of potential. Obviously, Jakiro has some moves that require some sort of setup, and there's not much better setups than the Chronosphere. So being able to put down Micropyre at least on a couple of heroes, if they get caught in the Chronosphere, is going to deal a large amount of damage. And we actually see Witch Doctor picked up by all the Awesome Red Team. So they're going to pick up another hero that works very, very well in the Chronosphere, almost like block picking two of their picks at the moment, which I never really like to see, if I'm honest. Like the Awesome Red Team, they're picking up heroes that you would argue would work very well in the Angry Armies lineup, which is not necessarily something you want to be doing. You want to be drafting your own team with your own strategy and your own focus in the game, not necessarily reacting to the picks that the other team are doing. And that's always going to put you on the back foot, and then you're going to go into the game on the back foot, and that's maybe not something that you want to be doing going into the game. We're going to have the third pick coming up by Angry Army. I mean, they've already got the Faceless Void. They've already got the Jakira. Let's say it's a Faceless Void going into the off lane, which I would like to see. We've got a Jakira, obviously, then maybe going to the safe lane. So they need another support. They need their carry, and they need their mid lane hero. On the terms of the awesome red team, what do they know about their team so far? I mean, they've got the Viper that is possibly going to be lining up in that mid lane position, but I mean, can play kind of any role, any of the 3 cores really. And they've got Scarith and Witch Doctor, 2 heroes that can run aggressive, but it's most likely this game we're going to see them run defensively. I wouldn't be surprised at all with the Scarith and the Witch Doctor. 2 pretty strong heroes in terms of their laning presence, but not necessarily in terms of their roaming presence, I would argue, in terms of the Witch Doctor and the Scarith. The Scarith on its own, a pretty good harassing tool. Obviously, you've got the Arcane Bolt that costs very little mana and does a hell of a lot of damage. But the Witch Doctor's stun isn't exactly... what's the word I'm looking for? It's not exactly... Reliable. Yeah, that's exactly the word I'm looking for. So it's not the best roaming pair, but you can get lucky with it if you decide to try and force anything going into that mid lane position. Shadow Demon picked up by the Angry Army. Shadow Demon, an extremely strong support, and it's going to be the setup in the lane for the Jakiro Ice Path. And they're going to be able to deal a lot of damage once the Shadow Demon gets a few levels up in that Soul Catcher. So it's going to be a fairly potent combo. I mean, Shadow Demon's a hero that can sort of be run with so many support heroes. It's always a good pickup. It's never really looked upon in a negative kind of way. So I think that's a decent pickup by the Angry Army. And we're actually going to see a Centaur Warrunner as the response by the awesome red team. So they're going to go for some more control, a more reliable stun. Obviously, Centaur is going to be probably heading towards that off lane on the Dire side. Can do pretty well there. Is going to survive fairly well. Probably shouldn't get brought down by a Jakiro Shadow Demon combo unless they get a really potent carry with a decent stun, like maybe even a Mirana, for example. Obviously, really nice setup with the Shadow Demon as well.
Yeah.
But the Centaur, in reality, shouldn't really die there and should get some decent levels. If you can go move on to the jungle, double-edge some creeps, get a Blink Dagger at a reasonable time, then they've got a nice amount of lockdown, especially with the Scarith Mage. If you can blink in and get the Hoof Stomp and then the Mystic Flare comes out, it's a really potent combo going into that mid-game sort of team fight area, and you can get a decent Death Ball lineup with the Witch Doctor. You've obviously got a lot of sustainability as well with Voodoo Restoration, and be interesting to see how Angry Army decide to deal with this. I'm very interested to see what I expect to be their carry position, bearing in mind I think the Faceless Void is going to be an off-lane position at the moment. And they're going to go for Slark. So this could be the carry or the mid laner. We don't quite know yet. Slark, a hero that doesn't do too bad against the Viper, so they might choose to try and match this up against the Viper, to be fair. Just in terms of laning presence, he doesn't necessarily do very well against him going into the later portions of the game. Viper Strike, very, very good at shutting a Slark down when he's trying to do as much damage as possible, hit as quickly as possible, and get as many essence shifts off as possible and get all that bonus attributes. But Viper in the laning stage, you can obviously Dark Pact off the slow. There's definitely kill potential there as well if the Slark manages to get a pounce and get some decent amount of damage off. So in terms of laning stage, it matches up quite well, but then going past that, it's not necessarily the best hero. But Dark Pat's such a good spell at getting rid of slows and debuffs. It's not a very odd hero to see. And we're actually going to see Tidehunter, which got through a long way in the pool in the draft, I would imagine, get banned out. And also the Phantom Lancer, which is a very odd one to me. I'm not quite sure why that was banned out, but then the Bloodseeker gets picked up. A hero that we don't see a lot at all, that's going to get picked up and
counters the Slark, of course.
Very, very interesting. Yeah, it counters the Slark completely. Because obviously you can see exactly where he is. But
gets no Shadow Dance, because you've got vision. Because you can see him. He can't. That ult's not going to heal him up every time he goes below 50%. So it's a pretty direct counter. But obviously Bloodseeker, one of those heroes that's really good at pub level, but is he good at this level of play? I mean, we
the
never
problem
see...
you've got is, like, when you play against an unorganized team in a pub game, then the Bloodseeker is very, very strong because it can run the map and it can take advantage of a lack of. But when you start playing him in a team-orientated game, especially when I really don't like the way the awesome red team have very much reacted to the picks the Angry Army have got. I mean, they pick up the Scarith Mage and the Witch Doctor, which are 2 supports that are very, very good in their own right. Not necessarily that good combo together. We'll see how they made that work and whether they've got some very, very good players playing them. But it's very much sort of counter picks to the Faceless Void, because you don't want to give a Faceless Void a Scarith Mage and a Witch Doctor as supports, because once that Chrono comes up, it becomes such a good setup for both of their ultimates that you can seriously lose a team fight and then you can lose a Rax off the back of that.
Yes.
Which is really, really crucial, especially when you get into the later portions of the game. And then they've obviously gone for the Slark, which is very much a reaction to the Bloodseeker comes out straight away. Which again, like you said, is a direct counter, but I very much think it's the awesome red team reacting to what the army are doing and we'll be able to see if they make it work. But at the moment, it's very much in the initiative of AJSA. Whether Team Red can make the laning stage work and then carry that on into a mid-game advantage, we'll have to wait and see. But it's definitely AJSA that have got a strategy here. They've got something they want to try and make work, and we'll be able to see if they do this. And while the game is paused, I am actually going to go to the toilet. So
okay.
you take over.
I'll introduce the
and
teams.
Introduce both of the teams, and then I should be back in time to start casting the game with you.
Right, okay, we've got to pause anyway, so you should be fine, Wakey. But yes, we're here. This is the Dota Legends game. We do have AJSA up against the side of Team Red. On the side of the Radiant, AJSA are going to be playing, and we are going to see Wusa is going to be on the Faces Void. At the moment, I can imagine it's probably going to be the off-lane Void. We'll probably see the Slark be the carry, with being played by Progi. He's going to be with Thorns on the support Jakiro and Charlie on the support Shadow Demon. Mid, we can be pretty sure that it's going to be the TA, which is going to be played by Hard. On the side of Team Red, though, we're going to see Kimura, Dota, Sucks on the offlane Centaur. It looks to be perhaps a mid lane. Wow, I'd imagine it's going to be the mid lane Bloodseeker played by Lumpian, and the position 1 carry Viper being played by Demadi. But either way, the support's going to be Turtle Overlord on the Witch Doctor and Red Orc on the Scarif Mage. But either way, it is going to be a first blood attempt by the looks of it. We see all 5 of them. The Happy Man strat comes out on the map with the smiley face and the round tummy. And yeah, so it is going to be the Slark in the farming position. They are going to do it as an aggressive tri lane on the side of AJSA, and it's going to be the solo safe lane Void, so putting him in a little bit of a safer position than if they did opt to put him on that off lane. And we're going to see a 5-man smoke now come out from the side of Team Red. They are heading straight towards the bottom lane, but Void, he's hugging that tier 2, and it is just the Void on his own, so there's not going to be any support movement looking for warding up or anything else like that, so they're not going to be able to catch anything out. They do get a ward themselves down nicely in the jungle. Red Orc's little spies. And he's going to be able to spy on the Radiant jungle, but it's not going to be too much of a benefit, seeing as there are no supports down here. It is just going to be the Void on his own. And as they return to the lanes, it looks like it is going to be what we expect with the Centaur on the off. It's going to be Viper in the mid. And actually, Bloodseeker is going to be in the tri-lane, so they're not going to put the Bloodseeker mid. Obviously, is one of those heroes that does do nicely in the mid lane, but against a TA, probably has quite a bit of trouble fighting up against a TA, would you say? I mean, Bloodseeker TA, would you want to put Bloodseeker against that? Or would you more than happily put the... Well, I guess the Viper's just so good against the TA, isn't he? The
Viper's very, very good against the TA. You definitely want that matchup, and I don't think you really want to lane the Bloodseeker against TA. TA would absolutely rate that lane, and I actually thought for a minute they might be doing dual lanes with the Scarith hovering around top. They've placed a very, very aggressive Observer ward as well, which actually isn't going to block this small camp. It's just going to have vision of it. Yeah. So for a minute, I thought they might run this sort of dual lane setup. In fact, they might still do that. Scarith actually heading now to the bottom lane, and this is definitely what I thought. As soon as they place that ward down, if you were going to block the camp, that would make sense if you were going to have a solo laner there, but the fact that they've just got vision of it means that if the pulls happen, which they kind of do want to happen, they're just going to contest it and take the pulls over. Having said that, unfortunately for them, they've got a solo safe lane Void down here, and they've gone for the aggressive try on the side of AJSA, so they've not quite got what they wanted in terms of that war positioning, but it'd be interesting to see how they manage to zone the Void out. I think it's a very, very crucial matchup. Void, one of the best heroes in the game at the moment. In fact, they're going to go on him straight away. And the amount of damage, if they've got another Arcane Bolt up, he's coming up in a second. Are they going to be able to do enough damage here? Wusa getting very, very low. He's sitting 20 HP. Can he go down? No, he's going to be able to eat away through the trees and get out. There isn't another Arcane Bolt. He can't quite get him ranged, can't quite get the vision to be able to throw that one out. And Void is actually going to survive down here. And he actually went for a horrible skill build, in my opinion. I mean, he might decide that he might have thought that he was going to get an easy lay down here solo against the Centaur, but he actually went for the first point in time lock, which is absolutely hideous if you're going to be outnumbered in a lane. You definitely want to go for time walk and then get a level in backtrack just to avoid the harass and be able to actually contest in the lane. And at the moment, they realize this, and they realize that he hasn't got the points in time walk. They realize he hasn't got the points in backtrack, and they're just going to be able to harass him out the lane. And Scarith's doing exactly that. This is going to be a horrible lane down here for the first few minutes for this Faceless Void.
Yeah, absolutely. He's going to have a terrible time. He's going to be hoping that the Scarif leaves the lane, but it really looks like he's not going to do that. He's going to hang around with this Centaur. Centaur, look, he's making advantage of the pulls here, actually pulling the Radiant creeps through to the second camp and getting a bit of farm for himself. But this is going to be essentially a very easy lane for Team Red. Mid lane as well, we've got the T up against the Viper. Viper already leading the last hits on the board, and I can only expect that to keep going the way of the Viper unless this TA starts playing amazingly, because the Viper should be having an easy time. Top lane, the Witch Doctor, they're actually letting him get some solo levels against this tri-lane, and Bloodseeker's actually doing a little bit of jungling. So they seem very confident to leave this Witch Doctor on his own against the two supports and the Slark. But talking about the two supports, they know that the Bloodseeker's headed into the jungle. They are smoked up and at a bit of a pause at the moment. And Bloodseeker actually is going to be farming these from the high ground as he pulls them out of the camp. Jakiro is level 2, has got the Ice Path and can follow up with the Dual Breath. Shadow Demon is just with a Disruption. But with one of these creeps going down here, we'll have the second level. But I'm not quite sure if they'll be able to kill the Bloodseeker here. They'll probably be able to do quite a bit of harassment and force him back a bit. But I don't think they'll catch him out long enough for a kill here, will they? Do you think, these two supports?
I think it'd be very difficult. Both of them are sitting at level, they're sitting at level 1 on the Shadow Demon. He really needs the Soul Catcher if they're going to be able to do enough damage to be able to kill off the Bloodseeker. Having said that, he is only sitting on 441 HP, so it's if they get a decent right clicks in, they get the positioning right, then it's entirely possible. I actually really like what Team Red are doing at the moment. They're sending the Bloodseeker into the jungle, so he's going to be able to farm up there, and then that leaves the Witch Doctor completely on his own in the lane, so he's going to be able to get a level 6 really fast. And what they've chosen in terms of their draft, they've chosen two supports that really need levels in terms of the Skywrath and the Witch Doctor. And they've sent the Skywrath down bottom with the Centaur, so he's going to pick up decent levels down there, and they're going to be able to do some decent harass to this Faceless Void, which we've already seen in this game, just 2 minutes in. And then they're also going to have the Witch Doctor on the top lane, who's going to be getting solo XP and is going to be able to get level 6 very fast. So they're going to have 3 cores that don't necessarily transition very well into the late game, but their mid game potential and snowball is going to be extremely strong. So it's definitely something worth looking out for on the side of Team Red. I really like the way they're laning this.
Bloodseeker very nicely avoided the supports. They literally just walked round and went round that middle of the camp, and by the time he made the rotation, they were gone.
Top lane. It's going to be in trouble, and this is the problem with the Witch Doctor on the solo lane. Like, he's going to be able to be bursted down very easily. I mean, you mentioned would the two supports be able to kill the Bloodseeker in the jungle? I'm not so sure about it, but they'll definitely be able to kill the Witch Doctor in the lane, especially with the help from the Slark. So, and this is definitely a problem when you decide to lane something as squishy as a Witch Doctor and solo lane it against an aggressive try, which is something that honestly I didn't expect myself, and necessarily probably Team Red didn't expect either. So it's very difficult to lane this if you are Team Red, and in terms of they clearly had a way they wanted to lane it. And
I mean, talking about the laning, actually, hang on. In the jungle, Bloodseeker, oh, look how low he is. He is in a lot of trouble here. There's going to be, they're going to go for the courier. They're going to chase them out. They go for the kill. Disruption, Ice Path, they're going to throw out a Dual Breath as well. No, they're not. They don't need it. Yes, maybe they do need it. Maybe should have thrown out a bit earlier. The right click, there we go. The Dual Breath catches him. And that should be enough to finish off the job. And it's a second kill going to AJSA. So these supports really taking control of this lane. I mean, we talk about the laning and all. In fact, Slark jumping on the Witch Doctor. The heals are coming out. Is it enough? But the Essence Shift, he's stealing a lot of the stats. Ice Path comes through. It's going to miss. A few right clicks, though. Passive coming out for Jigoro. He's still healing, but he's going to run out of mana. He's actually going to be able to fend them off. Anyway, as I was trying to say, with the Skywrath Mage, do you think it's worth picking him down? Obviously, they're shutting down the Void heavily, but they're kind of paying for it. You know, they've lost the Bloodseeker, they've lost the Witch Doctor. Do you think they should have just left the Centaur down here and let the Void get farm? Or do you think this is really going to help them shutting down the Void as much as they are at the moment?
I mean, the problem they've got is it's really greedy by AJSA. So they've ran this aggressive tri lane because of the fact of the matter is they need levels on these two supports. They need to be able to find kills on the map somewhere, and that's why they've gone so aggressive with the tri lane. And the problem is they're finding kills. And they're finding kills, and they've got three cores that transition very well. I mean, we've got the TA who isn't going to have a very good lane against the Viper, but he's actually doing decent on last hits. I mean, he's getting out last hit completely by the Viper, but if you're able to find something in that lane, then it's not too bad. And especially when you've got a Slark that's getting pretty much free farm on this top lane, and a Faceless Void who is getting shut down a lot. But let's be honest, this Faceless Void is a hero that we haven't really seen played in the safe lane position as a carry number 1 position. We've seen it played in that sort of number 3 position, in that off lane position, because it's a hero that nowadays, with the changes, doesn't need a lot of farm. And yeah, like you say, on the mid lane, it looks like Viper's going to go down thanks to another really nice support gank by the Shadow Demon Jakiro combo.
That's a pretty
as I was saying,
combo, yeah.
The Faceless Void, like in the offlane position, it's really strong. It just needs some levels to be able to perform, and it's such a good setup spell to have that Chronosphere, and especially when you've got heroes like Jakiro that can throw something into that Chronosphere and do a lot of damage.
Look at the jungle! Oh, blooming heck, Bloodseeker! Look, wait! Oh, he's being really cheeky. Look at him. I mean, he's obviously come down here. You know, he's left the jungle from top. It's a bit safer down here. There is only a Void who's having an absolutely awful time.
Yeah, it's a smart decision by the Bloodseeker.
Yeah.
I mean, if you realise that they've got the aggressive tri-lane, you're just going to get constantly killed
TA
and
with
in
an
the jungle.
rune and a double damage.
Oh, this could be bad for TA. I don't know whether the champion spotted that out actually on the Bloodseeker. It'd be interesting to see whether he did.
I don't think he would have had vision. But Skyrife Mage,
oh, it doesn't look like he did, and Hard is going to go in on this. Who's he going to go for? They have to go on the Skyrife here. I don't think they can kill actually the Centaur off. He's got too many hit points at 948, but at 568, the Skyrife's definitely a potential target, and it looks like the champion's coming in here, and that's going to actually ward off Hard. He doesn't fancy that kill, so he's going to go and see if he can make something happen in the mid lane on this Viper, which again is a really hard kill, especially when the Viper's already got a point up in the corrosive skin, and Damadi, I think he's going to be okay here. We'll see what happens. Anyway, the Invis runes ran out. Can he go aggressive? He's going to get the Meld Strike off. He's going to get the trap off. Can he go aggressive here? He might be able to do this. He's got the ability to do this. Oh, the actual slow, the Viper Strike coming out from the Viper, and this might actually cost Hard's life. He's going to lose a lot of damage. He pops the DD rune, but maybe, did he have that before? He should have popped that a little bit sooner, maybe. And
he did pop it straight away.
So that's why he was doing so much damage. But I mean, Viper, Damadi, he's going to be able to walk back to base. He didn't die, but he does have to walk back to base, so he's going to lose out on a lot of levels. It looks like he's going for an early mech. Whereas the regen, obviously coming from the bottle charges, is going to keep Hard in the lane, and it's not the end of the world. Although he did transition down to the bottom lane to try and make a kill happen, and it didn't work for him, so he lost some levels doing that.
In the tower, passive comes through from Jakiro.
Oh, he's actually going to miss out the jump, and the TP
so there's going to be TPs in from the Viper, and also the Centaur coming in as well. It's going to be a slow TP though after he follows through. Viper has already used the Viper track against the TA mid, so it's not going to have anything to chase them down with, but it's going to force them away. Witch Doctor is going to be quite grateful for that. I think that's the first time he's seen any help from the rest of his team on this top lane, and they are going to be able to keep him alive. Bottom lane going in now deep on the Void. He gets silenced up. The damage coming through. He's not going to be able to get the chrono off, and they do manage to get the first kill on the side of Team Red. Slark now though, he's coming. He's pouncing onto the Centaur. Right clicks come through. He picks up another kill. Bloodseeker's trying to turn on the Slark, but needs to be careful. The tower hits coming through does reset the aggro, but there's going to be nothing else to follow through. So they do get a kill on the Void eventually, but they lose the Centaur, and it's 4-1 going the way of AJSA. I mean, I don't know, the Slark, he's going to be starting to look pretty scary, and TA is getting the space to catch up after a pretty bad start against the Viper on her own.
Yeah, it's definitely the laning stage going the way of AGSA. I just don't think Team Red are ready for it. I mean, I mentioned it in the draft there, very much reacting to the picks that came out from AGSA, and for that reason, I think they probably got slightly outdrafted. Whether they could make the laning phase work in their favor and then transition to a really, really nice early game into a really strong mid game, which they definitely tried to do. I mean, They put the heroes in the positions that they had. They had the Bloodseeker jungling for that exact reason, and they went for sort of a dual lane approach.
Talking about Bloodseeker.
Oh, he's going to go down, and this is going to be an absolute disaster, because this is sort of the hero that was getting a little bit of space on Team Red in that jungle, and he's going to go down, and a jungling Bloodseeker's never going to be as efficient as a laning Bloodseeker. And I mean, sitting at level 5 9 minutes in, if you have like a free lane, a free farm Juggernaut, a free farm Bloodseeker, then he's going to be sort of hitting level 8 by this point, and at the moment he's not. He's very, very low in terms of levels. He might have a decent amount of gold, but when you're in the jungle, that change to the experience, it's interesting. I want to mention that actually. The change to the creeps in the jungle in terms of the golden experience that you earn from the creeps very much changed the way that Dota's played on the professional scene, in the sense that it very much changed from a let's pull, let's give the offlaner nothing, let's get our support some experience in gold in the jungle, let's choose a jungler and go really greedy lineups, to very much it's now actually worth it more to rotate supports and try and make kills happen on other lanes rather than just sit there and pull, which has made the game better in my opinion, in terms of you now get very much more aggressive lineups, you get a lot more rotations in the game. The mid lane is pressured a lot more, which makes it difficult, especially for skilled players. It makes them, the sort of really good players stand out from the rest, and I think it was just a really, really good change by ASFrog overall. And then obviously the supports, they don't lose too much if those ganks fail. It doesn't become then a game that's situated all on whether the ganks win or fail, because if you obviously make a gank as a support and then it doesn't work out, you lose a hell of a lot from what you could be getting in the lane or making pulls. But the fact that they ASFrog then increased the amount of gold you got per second makes a huge difference.
There's going to be a concussive shot in a blink, and this is
going to go down.
Yeah, and it's they're finding the kills, Team Red. They still are in the in the shadow of AJSA, who's sitting on the 6-3. And we saw Void manage to use his
mid-lane
Chrono
Viper, can he TP away? Oh, it's so close. One more right click coming out there from the TA. Probably would have been enough damage with the refraction up to be able to pick off the kill. With the slot there as well. Decent amount of essence stolen for only 1 point in essence shift. And Viper's very, very lucky to survive, and Bloodseeker goes top. He tries to find some farm of his own. I mean, he's sitting very, very poorly at the moment. I mean, we're 11 minutes into the game. He's only got the treads up. So, I mean, you look at the Faceless Void. I mean, he's got the poor man's shield. He's got the boots of speed. Already got a Morbid mask up and running. So he's able to find farm if there's no lane to farm. If it's too dangerous for him, he can just pop into the jungle, find some farm that way. And it's going to be the Mask of Madness up and soon. In fact, there's going to be some aggression on the top lane. The champion, he might be in trouble. He throws the Rupture out onto the Void. So the Void's going to stand there and he's going to have to tank the tower. He might be in trouble, actually. Manages to change the aggro to the TA. Has the TA got enough damage? The champion, he tries to TP out, similar to his teammate Damadi, but he's going to go down. And now the support comes in. But we're going to see another TA trap. It's going to be slowing them down. The Mystic Flare gets thrown out onto Charlie, but he's going to be absolutely fine. He's not going to go down, and it's actually going to be Kimura Dota taking it down on the Centaur. But now the Witch Doctor ultimate doing so much work, but he's going to fall. But he does manage to pick off the Shadow Demon. Sort of a fairly even trade in that sense. But the TA picks up another kill, so it's now 3 kills going to her. And like you mentioned earlier, she had a pretty rough start to the game, but she's very much becoming an integral part of AJSA's mid-game potential.
Indeed, and Viper, after that fight, coming in a little bit late, but he has got an Invisory looking for a pick-off. I don't think he can take on the TA, though, 1v1. You know, he's got 2-level deficiency against her. Viper is going for that mech. It's going to be relatively quick. I don't know, 13-minute mech pretty much. Only a couple more 100 gold for the recipe. Is that all right for a mid-Viper?
Yeah, I mean, he's got decent last hits, especially in a lane against a TA that is a lane that a TA would expect to dominate. Whenever you pick a TA, it's to dominate a lane, but you're not going to out-dominate a Viper, and Viper's got 53 last hits, sitting at the top of the last hits board. 13 minutes into the game. The mech's not the worst choice in the world. Bear in mind, just stop off for the Ring of Aquila as well, so...
Yes.
It's not like he's rushed the mech.
No.
This Witch Doctor is actually sitting at level 9, so I mean, we mentioned how effective putting the Witch Doctor in that sort of solo safe lane position would be, and I mean, managed to get a hell of a lot of levels for level 9. That is actually ridiculous. I want to have a quick look at the hero levels, and I mean, we look at the Skywrath and the Witch Doctor. They're sitting at level 7 and 9, and then the supports for the other are sitting at 7 and 8. So it's sort of a 1-level difference they've managed to get at that safe lane. But I think on a hero like a Witch Doctor, it's very, very important that you manage to achieve that.
Bottom lane, Jakiro trying to TP out of this. Oh, TP out of a Mystic Flare. Good luck with that.
Jesus. Get wrecked.
They do get a kill in return though on the Viper. Void actually going in, did use the Corona, so a kill for a kill. They take down the Viper, they lose Jakira, so AJSA coming out on top of that trade, I would argue. Shutting down the Viper, especially when he was... Oh no, he had got the mech, so it wasn't like he was just short of purchasing the recipe, because that could have hurt him a little bit more. But he has got the mech finished now. They might lose... in fact, looks like they will lose the tier 1 here. They do have a fortification, but I don't think Team Red are in a position to get back and save that. Oh, and Slark gets the extra tower gold there. And Slark looks, he's going to be building the Shadow Blade, so he's going to have that extra level of initiation. Still, obviously, he's building a Shadow Blade up against the Bloodseeker, so whilst it is going to help him initiating these fights, it's still not going to help him when he's low and he's trying to get away. Now we see Team Red trying to push mid, but the rest of
the Shadow Blade's a funny item build, I think. I'm not sure you would do that when you're playing up against a Bloodseeker, but hey, he's gone for it, and he's going to try and initiate here by the looks of it. She's going to use the Centaur ultimate to try and initiate here. The Mystic Flare goes down. They're trying to go in on hard, but they're not going to be able to find it, but they might be able to find Pro-G on the Slark. He's getting pretty low, but he has got the ultimate. He's going to be able to pop this out. Meanwhile, the Witch Doctor ultimate, the Death Ward, is doing so much work. He's actually going to be able to bring off the Templar Assassin. The Scarab Mage doing the damage for that one. In the end, Kimar manages to finish off Wusa on that Faceless Void, so they do lose a trade there. And I think the Witch Doctor survived that one. The Witch Doctor did survive that one, so they managed to bring 3 heroes down. Not losing any one of themselves. Really nice trade. The Centaur ultimate was used perfectly in terms of their initiation, and I really don't like this Shadow Blade on Slark. I'm just going to reiterate that. I mentioned it here. We'll see how that progresses into the game, but I really don't like it. Especially when you're against a Bloodseeker. I think normally it's a very legitimate item, but when you're playing against a Bloodseeker, it's not going to do you too much good. And now we're going to see the counter push coming out. I mean, look at the amount of damage that they've got. The Soul Catcher, they've got the Jewel Breath. Jewel Breath does a surprisingly good amount of damage, and they're actually going to manage to pick off the Bloodseeker. That's a huge kill for them to be able to get. Jakiro picking off the kill on that one, and I mentioned how much Jewel Breath damage does. But seriously, is a lot. And now TA doing what a TA does, just balls deep, flying into 4 of them. Is going to be able to pick off Turtle Overlord easily. 1 kill down. Now can she find some more? She's got the refraction up. She's going to have it up again in another 5 seconds, 4 seconds. Got a Meld Strike, but it doesn't look like they're going to go initiate on this. Although Charlie, the disruption goes off. Actually, the blink in by Kima. He's actually going to take a lot of damage, but not before he brings down the Slark.
The Chrono.
Oh, the Chrono. What a Chrono. And look at this. It's all the heroes on Team Red. They're going to get beaten down. Wusa with a beautiful Chrono, catching out pretty much everyone. And it's a 3-for-3 trade, so it's not necessarily an amazing one for AJSA. But they followed that a long way. And it's actually going to be a TP out coming from Thorns. Ooh, that was a little bit risky with the Bloodseeker coming in as well. Might have been able to take down some damage there, but in the end, he's going to be able to make it out. And 3-for-3 is the way it goes, but not a bad counter initiation coming out from AJSA. I just think the Templar Assassin maybe dived a little bit too far. Once they got the disruption off in this area by the tier 2 tower in the mid lane, I just think maybe they should have just sort of took what they got and leave, really, rather than deciding to lose 3 heroes, because they managed to get the counter kill onto the Witch Doctor, and they managed to kill off the Bloodseeker as well, which kind of made it an alright trade for them, but chasing it any further was always going to end in disaster for me.
Yeah, I mean, it was a really nice Chrono, but they'd already lost the TA, the Slark, and the Shadow Demon, unfortunately, so it's just a little bit too late. But still, it's a pretty close game, 4-12. I mean, we'll have a look at the XP graphs. It's only 1k going the way of AJSA, and it's only 2k going the way of AJSA, which, you know, they've got a slight advantage in the kills, and it shows slightly in the golden XP, but it's a pretty even game at the moment. And
what about the net worth? What's the net worth looking like?
Oh, okay, for the individual heroes, yeah, let's have a look. So it's TA leading. Oh, talking about action, top lane.
Thorns is he's going to need pop the Yules, actually. Impressive that he's got a Yules at this timing in the game, but it's not going to help him here, and he's going to get blown up. 4 heroes committed to that kill. Actually, 5 heroes up here on this top lane, so it looks like they're going to transition this into a push, and they should be able to pick off the tier 1 tower here. I don't think there's too much of the defense that AJSA can do with just the 4 heroes down, especially when one of them is the Jakiro, who's not down. They don't have Chronosphere for another 20 seconds, so it looks like they're probably just going to let this one go. I don't think Slark can do too much here on his own to defend against this, and they might try and find a trade somewhere else on the map. Looks like Voice trying to push in the mid lane as much as possible, but there goes that tier 1 tower. And
yeah, I mean, you know, 18 minutes in, it's getting to the mid game. Void obviously had an awful start, but he's slowly catching up. Has got that Mask of Madness, and he's going for the Maelstrom. He's actually going to force 2 TPs mid. He's going to just time walk out and TP back. But as we get to the later stages of the game, I mean, surely you got to favour AJSA with that, you know, with that 3 core lineup with the Slark, the TA, and the Void. I mean, what's it going to be up against? A Viper, you know, who does begin to fall off as we get to the late game. Bloodseeker, who again, I mean, he had a okay start, I guess, but he's only got drums and treads, nothing amazing. And then your other real core really is the Centaur, and at the end of the day, it's really going to probably be the Witch Doctor dishing out more damage as we see him go for the Aghanim Scepter next, which I guess, I don't know. I just don't see it.
The Aghanim Scepter is a necessity for the Witch Doctor.
Yeah, he needs it. Yeah,
he needs it, and I think it's crucial for their survival in this game as well, because to be honest, that the problem they've got is even the way they've drafted as well. They're very much focused on AJSA making a mistake, and the mistake is that Void, Wusa, catches a load of his teammates in the Chrono, and then they manage to be able to put the Death Ward down and kill a load of them, but in the end, Wusa's just going to be able to pick up the Scarith Mage. He is actually going to get caught out here by the Rupture, but I don't think it's going to matter at all. I don't think they can really initiate on this. There's going to be a defensive disruption coming out from Shadow Demon. The champion, he's trying to find the Thorns. Thorns might go down again here. He's going to be the one that's going to fall, but Slark's coming in. He's doing a lot of damage. The champion, he's trying to run away. He's on very, very low health, but he's going to be able to make it. Turtle Overlord popping down the Death Ward just to keep the rest of AJSA at bay, and it's going to be actually a 2-for-1 trade. So really nice reinitiation by Team Red. They're going to be able to find themselves 2 kills, even though a lot of their heroes are low. And this is the thing, it's going to have to be this Witch Doctor. It's going to have to be this Witch Doctor putting down the Death Ward into a Chrono that has a lot of AJSA's team in, finding kills that way, and then transitioning that into a push. I think that's going to be the best way they're going to be able to find an opening the later this game goes on, because, like you say, the tri-core of AJSA is very, very much stronger than what Team Red have to offer at this stage. And I think we just saw it there. I mean... That was the Witch Doctor ult, and that was still without an Aghanims, you know, without those extra bounces. Yeah.
So, if he's able to get it off that much. And I guess that's the thing he is. I mean, the TA and the Slark obviously have nothing to stop the ult. Void has the Chronosphere and the bashes, but chances are this Witch Doctor is going to be playing in a manner where he's trying his best to keep at the back so he doesn't get caught himself in the Chronosphere. I guess Jakira has a nice way of cancelling it with that long range of the Ice Path. And Shadow Demon has a disruption, but Shadow Demon probably won't be looking to use the disruption on the Witch Dogs. Mid lane, a bit of a fight coming out. Slark's turning it around. He does manage to get the kill on the Center Warrunner, purges off the slow and the damage over time, and is able to back out away from the Viper. But they do find a kill mid. It's 16-15. Again, this game's just so even at the moment. And now, Rupture onto the TA. They're going to chase her down. She's out of refraction charges. She is taking the damage. She's just going to tank it up, though, and run straight through it. I mean, you've got to remember, this Bloodseeker, he's only level 10, so it's only level 1 in the ultimate. And we're seeing at the moment, a level 13 TA couldn't care less about being altered. She just runs all the way through it.
Yeah, the level 1 ultimate is actually so poor. Just so little damage, and TA just seeing it there. I mean, pops the refraction. That takes some of the damage away, and you just be able to run away completely from the fight. What a chrono hitting on 2 heroes. Damadi, the champion, is going to get blown up right at the start. He's at level 10. He couldn't really afford to die there. Damadi's going to be able to brought down as well. Does manage to throw the ultimate down onto the Jakira, but he's just going to throw a Yule Scepter up into the air, and Tom's going to be able to survive throughout that. And they managed to pick off 3 heroes in that as well.
Slark was at the back.
Skyrath taken out by the Slark as well. So 3 heroes down for the side of Team Red, and this is going to transition very, very nicely into a push for AJSA, and they're going to be able to take the mid-tier 2 from this one, I would imagine.
Yeah, and this isn't going to be an issue for them at all. Hammering straight down on it. 19-15. That was probably one of the biggest, most obvious advantage of a team fight we saw go there. As you said, turning that team fight win into a strong push. And now they're going to go for top tower. There's going to be a TPM from Bloodseeker, but this is, again, he's pretty underfarmed, and he is on his own. They obviously can't see at the moment the creep's back, so they don't know it's the Bloodseeker on his own. But if they see him there, I wouldn't be surprised if they go for it. I mean, if you look at the net worth, they're starting to get rich on the side of AJSA. Aghanims is now picked up on Witch Doctor, but just look at the money on TA. She's got 3.7k gold. I mean, she's got a Yasha jumps and phase boots, so she's already as fast as she needs to be. Looks like she's just being a little bit undecisive in what she wants to go for next. I mean, what would you expect to see on this TA next? I mean, does she need a BKB, would you suggest?
I mean, keeping it your gold is not like the worst thing in the world, and then you can just spend the unreliable gold like before you're about to die. But I think probably she's gonna. I would imagine maybe even a BKB.
She does get it. She does get it.
So yeah, we're gonna see the BKB come straight out. It's gonna be purchased instantly.
You know,
so
Skyrath and Centaur pretty much useless now against the TA.
Yeah, I mean, they don't have too much. I mean, the Witch Doctor ult is pretty much the only sort of physical ultimate that they've got that goes through it.
Viper Strike.
They've got the Viper Strike that goes through BKB as well. So, I mean, the Viper Strike's always going to be very, very relevant against both the Void and the TA going into the late game, and Slark as well. We can't imagine that. Can you death pact off the Viper Strike? I believe you
I
can.
don't know. I don't know. I don't
Twitch
think
chat.
you can. Twitch chat.
Yeah, teach us
Star
mechanics.
Pact.
Mechanic
Viper
gods.
Strike.
Tell us.
Can you do it?
But yeah, I mean, it's going to be very, very effective against those 3 heroes nevertheless, and it'll be just really interesting to see whether that Witch Doctor ult is going to be enough physical damage they've got in these team fights. And it's not like they have exactly any kind of setup for it. I mean, if they manage to get a decent Centaur stomp onto 3 heroes, they're very much relying on the Centaur and also the Faceless Void to do a shitty chrono. So as long as the Faceless Void doesn't do a shitty chrono in this game, then the Witch Doctor ult's never going to be used to its full effectiveness. And that's something that's very, very interesting to see coming out from Team Red. Just in the Witch Doctor pick as a whole, it's very much just to stop AJSA from having it, and I don't think they can make it work in their lineup, but we'll see what happens. It's going to be a 5-man sort of rotation coming out now from Team Red. They're going to sort of head to this bottom lane. They might be able to pick off the Shadow Demon and the TA here. The TA is going to be very, very hard to kill at this stage with the drums finished. The BKB, you've got the refraction charges. She's even got a regen rune bottled up as well. And it looks like they're just going to leave the lane. I think they realise that there's heroes around. Yeah, they've got a ward here on this top map, so it's going to be able to see that this Centaur is actually jungling. What else have they got? True Overlord, Turtle Overlord. He's actually looking just into the Roshampa, and he might get picked off here. He's left the rest of his team. He's going to go down here. What's he got to be able to provide? He's just using the heal, and they're actually going to use the Mystic Flare, but in comes the Chrono. It manages to catch on 3 heroes. It just manages to kick Chimera on the right at the edge of it. And Wussa, he's just cleaning up now. He's got that Maelstrom finished. He's going to town. He's already managed to pick off a double kill. Can they pick off the champion as well? Oh, Charlie, he's going to go down actually onto the Shadow Demon. The champion, actually not picking that one up. It's Damadi on the on the Viper, but he's in trouble now. Can they pick off the Void? It's a decent trade. It's already 3 for 3, and now can they find anyone else? Hard. He's going hard on this Templar Assassin. Get it? Nice little pun there. And he's still got the regen rune as well if he wants to keep going. The Meld Strike, not just enough to be able to pick off Damadi, and actually Scarith Mage as well. He's going to just be able to escape scot-free. I'm surprised he didn't dive deeper on that, to be honest. And maybe now he looks at his skill build and thinks, oh, I wish I had a blink dagger.
Oh, here we go. No, he's going to dive deeper. Talking about
he's going to go.
Is he going to go?
I don't think he can pick the Scarif Mage off at this point. I think the Scarif Mage is full health, has too much HP. If it was the Viper, then definitely. The Viper was so low in that fight. But meanwhile, Jakira's just pushing out this top lane, has managed to do a decent amount of damage onto this tier 3 tower, over half the health of it. You have to remember, Jesus. So much damage that you get actually from liquid fire.
Yeah, the split push of Jakiro is something that they really didn't expect. Yeah, and the tier 3 going down. I mean, you're talking about shitty chrono. It was a good chrono. They got the kills. But the fact that it did clip this Slark, he popped his BKB, he wanted to go home, and Void just caught him, and he went down straight away to the burst damage from Rupture from Bloodseeker. Unfortunately, going straight through the BKB, that initial burst. So he was going to be a little bit annoyed at that Void. Because if Void had just done the chrono,
it was a nice chrono. I think it was. It was honestly like the best chrono you could have done if you wanted to catch all 3 heroes out. It's just unfortunate he managed to catch the Slark out, and he got a double kill off the back of it. It's just unfortunate that the Slark went down, and then they went in and they lost the Shadow Demon, and then the Faceless Void stuck around and they lost him as well. It's again just a slight bit of overextension coming out from AJSA, and just taking what they can when it's available is probably something that they should start thinking about doing, because they don't need to they can take even trades at this stage. I mean, they still in their mind have the late game. They're winning on kills. They've got the gold and the experience advantage. So as far as they're concerned, they're winning this game. But if they just played a little bit safer, they don't need to take massive risks. That's something that Team Red need to do if they want to win this game, because they very much have a time limit on their lineup at this stage now, I would imagine. They're not going to be dealing out too much DPS going into the late game unless they get an unbelievable Witch Doctor ultimate. They get everything perfect, then they're just not going to be able to do it. They have great single target lockdown, but their team fight is actually lacking a little bit. The Witch Doctor is very much relied upon with the Centaur as well, getting a decent stomp, and we can see that they're 5-manning up. They don't want to get picked off by AGSA. They don't want to extend that lead. They can't afford to lose heroes, and unfortunately they can't win these fights. Everything they manage to turn around, they're still only getting even trades. And now we see the smoke. So it's a 4-man smoke actually coming out from Team Red. They're going to go and try and head to find this Jakiro actually on this top lane. So, oh no, they're actually going to run into the secret shop ancient area of the Radiant side. And there's a double damage popped by the Viper as well. So there's 5 heroes heading down here. I don't know whether they're going to be able to find anyone though. Look at the positioning on the side of AGSA. The Faceless Void is the closest one to them. He's sitting in the jungle. It looks like it's actually been spotted out. The Viper's been spotted out on the mid lane. The smoke obviously hasn't just as yet.
Oh, here we go.
It looks like, is Void going to be in trouble here? He's going to be fine. He's just going to walk away.
Yeah,
scot-free. Yeah.
And got unlucky there. The Centaur was like, right, we saw him go that way. And if he was just a few seconds earlier, it would have been right with that prediction. But they don't get the Void. But it looks like they will be able to pressure this tower, and they'll probably get it. I mean, Void has got Chrono.
Yeah, but they're losing the tier 2 on that top lane. And the Jakiro is pushing it in the bottom lane. The Jakiro is pushing in on the top lane. So they get the tower for it, which is a decent trade. It obviously doesn't get defended. But now they're going to have to TP back to both lanes to try and defend. And they're actually going to lose the tier 2 tower. So it's actually not a very good trade at all. A smoke wasted as well, remember. We're going to see the Bloodseeker TP back, Damadi on this Viper TP back as well, and Turtle Overlord. They're forcing out all the TPs.
Top lane. Going for a solo kill.
Jakiro, can he do it? He might be able to do this. This would be a really nice kill to get, but I think the burst damage coming out from the Scarith Mage is not to be underestimated, and that's something that Thomas needs to not do here, although he does have the Yule Scepter, which has already been used. Oh, now he might be in trouble. We're actually going to see the aggression coming out. Orc, is he going to do it? Can he find it? They've got the Arcane.
They're
going to use it. They're going to use the Rupture, and with the really nice combos actually. I didn't even register that. They've got the Rupture and then obviously the Mystic Flare as well. It's so much single target lockdown, and they're able to find off they're able to pick off solo heroes really, really easily like that. Jakiro is just completely out of position from his team, but split pushing Jakiro is like, it's real. It's completely real.
And yeah, they're slowly chipping away. One more push, and that tier 3 will be straight down. But 22.19, if we do have a look at the XP and gold graph, it's 10k XP. It's coming up to 10k. It's slightly curving round, obviously with that pick off on the Jakira, and the fact that AJSA haven't really been able to find any huge pick offs after they did that little, well, massive, like kind of dodging of ganks. They've not been able to make too much happen over the last few minutes, but still, they've got a pretty confident lead. And still their cores are getting pretty darn farmed. You look at the Void, he's got a Maelstrom, and he's got a BKB now finished up, and now Desolator on the TA on top of the BKB. Slark, BKB, of course, as we saw in the last fight, the Shadow Blade, he's got the Ultimate Orb, so it looks like he's probably going to be going for the Scardy next. So all three of their cores compared to Team Red looking pretty scary. I mean, you look at the Bloodseeker, he has got his BKB now, but I mean, as for right-click damage, it's not a lot. He's got to hope that the heroes on AJSA are low, because otherwise he's not going to be dealing a lot of physical damage but regarding his base item build at the moment. Viper actually went Sanjin Yasha after the mechanism, so an item that's nice, but I don't think it's going to help him as we get to these later parts of the game, and we're 32 minutes in coming up, so it's, I don't know about that. And other than that, I mean, the Centaur, that's got the Blink and the Halberd and the Blade Mail. It's got a fair bit of gold as well. I wouldn't be surprised if it goes for the oh yeah,
the champion getting absolutely blown up. 5 heroes committed to that kill. He's going to get absolutely destroyed, and they're not going to be able to find anyone else. Damadi's probably going to be able to get his way out of this, but this is going to turn into a push on this top lane. Unfortunately, they don't have the creeps with them, so they're going to be able to push out one creep wave, and then they're probably going to have to look elsewhere to push. It looks like Faceless Void is pinging on the mid lane. There's pings coming in the jungle as well. They've TP'd back to try and clear out the wave, but... So nice little pick off. They managed to get off the Bloodseeker. The Bloodseeker is having a pretty torrid game. He's got the BKB, he's got the drums, treads as well, but that's pretty much it, which isn't a lot for 31 minutes into the game. When you compare that to a hero like the Faceless Void, he's got the BKB, he's got the Mask of Madness, he's got the Maelstrom, he's working his way into the Deadless. The power treads are finished on him as well. We've got a TA who's got the Yasha, who's going to be building that probably into a Manta style. Already the Desolator finished, the Black King bar, Phase Boots, drums, and even the Slark, who had free farm obviously on that top lane. Looks like he's going to be going for the Scardy. He's a little way off it though. Has got the Orb of Venom and one of the Ultimate Orbs, but then also has BKB, Shadow Blade, and Shreds as well. It's just that the farm on AJSA is far superior to Team Red, and they have the better late game, so why would you try and like force anything that isn't wise? You wouldn't at all. You're just going to play it safe. You're going to push out all the lanes exactly as they're doing. If you need to fight ball, it's going to be a stop. It's going to catch out onto the Slark, and the Wooster on that Faceless Void is going to get caught out, but the defensive disruption is going to keep them alive for a while. It's actually the Olmo coming out from the Witch Doctor is doing a hell of a lot of damage. The Faceless Void chrono is down, but Witch Doctor is picking up a double kill. He's just doing so much work. It's a triple kill. We talked about how precious this Olmo might be, and it's proven to be so. They've already cleaned up 3 heroes. They're going to be able to clean up 4 heroes. Witch Doctor making the plays on Team Red, and what an initiation. I mean, they initiated with the Centaur. It wasn't the best initiation, only caught 2 heroes out with the Hoof Stomp, but then now they just it was AJSA. They wanted to force the fight, which they didn't have to do. They could have disengaged, and then once sort of the heroes were more spread out, maybe re-engage them, but they re-engaged straight exactly when Team Red wanted them to do so, and they just got punished by a Witch Doctor with Axe, who picked up a triple kill. Jesus.
Yeah, I mean, it's... I thought they would have learned from this mistake earlier, but they really need to be very aware of where that Witch Doctor is, and just make sure he can't do that in these fights, because it absolutely destroys them. You know, the BKBs aren't going to save you from the physical damage of that ult, and now level 17, and obviously with the Axe complete, just dealing out so much damage with it. They need to be focusing him. They need to kill him first. You know, who cares about the Bloodseeker or the Viper when you've got a Witch Doctor doing that in the middle of any team fight? So
yeah, exactly. Yeah. A Bloodseeker with treads, drums, BKB is not an issue. No. Like, the issue is the fucking Witch Doctor wrecking you with the ultimate with the Ag Scepter. And he's got a Bling Dagger as well. And it looks like he's going to go in for... Is that going to be a... It's going to be a...
Oh, he's had that for a while, to be fair.
Or is that just a casual chainmail for the moment? Okay, fair enough. But they're actually going to get caught out here, and Slark's going to start doing some damage. Keemer, he might go down here. He's going to go down the Witch Doctor. Oh, we see it again. The Chrono, though, it manages to catch the Witch Doctor out, and it manages to catch Damadi on that Void as well. He's so tanky. That casual chainmail doing work, but he's going to be able to get picked off anyway. Damadi now on the run. The Soul catches on him. He's going to get so much damage done to him if he gets a bash. Where's the bash? The bash. He's got no bash. He's got no bash. Damadi, he's going to make it out.
There,
the Slark's there, though. He's just going to die. Oh, the damage actually coming out from Templar Assassin. The Courier trying to do the bait. And just run away. And actually manages to force Faceless Void into a horrible position. Look at the Courier jukes. Who is controlling this Courier? This is amazing jukes from the Courier. Seriously, so good.
Oh, he's had the gem on.
Finally gets picked off by Hard. He managed to pick up the gem in that fight as well.
No, the gem was on the Courier.
Yeah, exactly. Whoever was, it was picked up though. Witch Doctor dropped the Courier when he died. He managed to pick it up with the Courier. It was a really nice micro until the last minute.
Top lane though, Jakiro, split pushing Jakiro fails today.
Oh man, the split pushing Jakiro is not real. It is real, but it's getting punished. And now it's actually going to be Roshan finished up by AJSA, and that was a fight that Team Red could not afford to take.
That was a big fight.
They blew the problem is as well, they're like they relied so much on that Witch Doctor ultimate, like they did in the fight before, and they just blew it straight away at the start of the fight. And then Faceless Void came in, Chrono killed off the Witch Doctor, and that time they focused the Witch Doctor first, and they won the fight. So I think, like you said in the previous fight, in the aftermath of that, they've learned their lesson. They need to focus this Witch Doctor and get him punished, because at the end of the day, it was a Bloodseeker jungling. The Witch Doctor was in that farming role. Admittedly, he was against that tri-lane, but you could argue that he was the #1 position in this team. So it's definitely a hero that you need to focus, and it's a hero that you can focus. It's not exactly a hero that's extremely tanky like the Centaur that's difficult to bring down. It's going to cause you problems all game, or a Bristleback or something like that. It's a hero that you can burst down fairly easily if you manage to get the Chrono off on him, or Slark catches him out with the pounce.
I mean, yeah, that's the thing. This Witch Doctor needs to be using his ult after the Chrono comes up. He can't pop it because he's just going to get the Chrono straight on his head. He needs to wait until the Chrono comes out and then pop it down, because otherwise he's just never going to get the full duration off, and it's going to be useless. And I mean, just after that fight, the core's just looking so strong on the side of AJSA. You know, he's finished off his Mjolnir, and he's still got 1,600 gold to go. TA, I mean, she's probably, she's coming up to a 6 lot. She's got the Manta style finished off as well. And I mean, you just look at the net worth at the moment. The only hero keeping toe-to-toe on the side of Team Red is the Centaur. And that's a hero that, it's nice. He's going to be tanky and hard to kill. But AJSA, they're not going to be bothered about that, because they don't care about killing him. They're going to kill everyone else and then just going to chase him back to base. So it's just the unfortunate for Team Red that the farm's really gone to the heroes. Well, the hero there's it's not that much use on, because you look at the Witch Doctor, sorry, not the Witch, the Viper, who's really poor. Witch Doctor, fortunately, is one of those heroes who can just dish out a lot of damage, because as long as he gets the ult off, you know, that's pretty much all the Witch Doctor has got to offer in terms of, you know, full-on damage, but which is a lot of damage, but it is a kind of a one-trick pony, and at the moment, especially in regards to the last team fight, AJSA have worked out how to stop that from happening. And I wouldn't be surprised if we don't see another good Witch Doctor ult for the rest of the game, because I think AJSA will just really be looking to shut down that Witch Doctor every fight, because, you know, they see just off the back of those fights how much they win and what kind of advantage they get, and the fact that we're now going to see them pushing onto the racks on the top lane, and I'm not quite sure Team Red can defend this. You know, there's a Chronosphere back up. AJSA, they're ready to fight again.
Yeah, definitely. I completely agree. The problem you've got is it's so difficult to push against the high ground when you do have that Witch Doctor and pop down the Death Ward. And if you haven't got vision, which it's difficult to do so if the creeps are getting instantly killed by a Bloodseeker, by a Viper, and it's really difficult to be able to find out where that Witch Doctor is. And I think it's the Void is the most crucial hero right now. If he can blink in, and if he can like time walk in and be able to pick off, in fact, he's going to do it now. He's going to do it. Is he going to be able to pick him off? He actually gets no one. He's whiffed the Chrono completely. A very bad Chrono coming out there from Wusa, but he's going to be able to find Orc in the jungle. He's going to be able to pick him off, but here comes the Witch Doctor roll. He's doing so much work, and Scarf Match actually managed to pick down Wusa as well on that Faceless Void, so it's a 1-for-1 trade already. Jakiro goes down. He goes down to the Witch Doctor roll. I don't think it was the Witch Doctor that actually got the last hit onto that one, but now Slark comes in. He manages to pick off the Scarf Mage, and now he's going to work on Damadi. He doesn't even realise that it's happening. Templar Assassin picks him off. He's going to go down the champion as well. Can't fight up against this Templar Assassin. Templar Assassin too much damage, and True Overlord, he hasn't got anything without the Death Ward. He's got nothing. He's only got the heal, and it's not going to help him against a Slark and a TA. The TA's got the Desolator as well, and this is going to force the buyback out probably from the Bloodseeker, because if it doesn't, they're probably probably going to lose the Rex here. In fact, well, probably, I say that. They're going to lose the Rex. So there's going to be one lane of Rex down. In fact, they probably don't even buy back for this. They're just going to lose the lane of Rex. If they try to go on the second lane, that's when you buy back, and it looks like that's exactly what Pro-G wants to do on that slide. He's going straight for that tier 3 tower in the mid lane, and this is a sensible decision. They need to take as much of their advantage as they can. Well, the Bloodseeker has got buybacks.
Apart from Bloodseeker, but what's he going to do?
He's the only one.
What's he going to do?
He's going to do nothing here. He's just going to die back is what he's going to do. And this is Megas. They're going to lose Megas from this. With the damage that they've got coming out from these two heroes and the Mantis style as well, they're going to lose this tier 3 tower on this bottom lane. They're going to lose the Rex as well. Yeah, this is it. They have got the Centaur coming in. It's actually just going to be the GG straight away, and we see how one fight can completely turn around the game. And the Chrono didn't even matter. It was all about the Witch Doctor ultimate. It didn't do enough. They didn't have enough setup for it, like we mentioned. They were very much relying on the poor team fight coming out from the Void, catching some of his own heroes, which we saw in that fight on the bottom lane not too long ago, where he caught some of his heroes in the Chrono, and they got absolutely punished for it with the Witch Doctor ultimate. If he doesn't do that, even if he whiffs it and doesn't hit any of the enemy team, then they've got nothing to set up with. If the Centaur can't find a stomp on 2 or 3 heroes, then they're not going to win the fight, and that's exactly what happened, unfortunately. And they go down, and it was just the pushing damage from those 3 cores that AJSA had that was too strong.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, there we go, ladies and gentlemen. First game goes to the Angry Army. I think at the end of the day, it was the draft that did it, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think it was. I mentioned it. Like
Team Red, for the start that they had and the draft they had, they actually did all right for the first 20 minutes. But
yeah, they did good. They did good. But yeah, if you've got